thank you all for joining us this Sunday afternoon. After all, it's our love for the games, and that is why we're here to discuss the future of sports in a post-COVID world. Let me also thank each one of you for joining in this Sunday afternoon. Mustafa Ghouse, the CEO of JSW Sports, Mr. Menon, Mr. Satish Menon, the CEO of Kings 11 Punjab, Vivek Singh, the joint MD of Procam International, and two very eminent sports persons as well joining us on this webinar. The goalkeeper for Blues, Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, joining us all the way from Australia, and also the all-rounder Vijay Shankar also joining in. So thank you all of let me thank all of you for joining us today on Sunday. We have about 175 registrations already for this webinar, and more people will watch us on other platforms like Facebook, our Twitter handles as well. So let me get started. Gurpreet, you're joining us all the way from Australia. How's the lockdown treating you? Nobody ever thought that there will be one day that we won't be able to get out of our homes. So how are things at your end?
It's strange, but you're getting used to the strange now. It's been over a month that I've been here in Australia, and I think things are not that bad how they are in other countries like the US and some countries in Europe. But I've seen the transition of how people are being educated, and they are taking the initiatives of social distancing and not going out too much. So that's a good sign, seeing that people are getting together, countries are getting together, and hopefully this passes soon, and we'll get back to normal.
Gurpreet, people call you Mr. Safe Pair of Hands. Are you able to practice? A lot of your fans want to know about that.
I'm not being able to do any football sessions, unfortunately, but I watch all the YouTube videos of house training, home training, bodyweight training, and I try to do every bit that I can. I know it's not the same, but you need to keep in touch, with your physical self.
Right, Shankar, let me ask you, a lot was being talked about in terms of IPL as well. For you also, a lot was riding on this season of the IPL. There's still no clarity on when we'll see the games really happening. How are you utilizing this time? What are you doing, during the lockdown? You were also telling us about your workout sessions as well.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just trying to find ways to keep myself fit, because all I learned in the last few weeks is that it's not about having some equipment all the time. We have to find ways to keep ourselves fit, as Gurpreet said. So just trying to keep myself fit and trying to keep myself engaged with cricket as well. Going back to the olden days, like how when we started playing cricket, like we used to do a lot of shadow practice, visualization, and all such things. And I think this is a time for us to go back to all that.
Right. Mustafa, for JSW Sports, you people support not just teams, but a lot of individual athletes as well for different kind of sports. All of a sudden, we heard that Tokyo Olympics will not be held, this time around. So how has COVID changed the course for how you were supporting athletes? What are you guys doing now? Talk to us about the JSW Village as well.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having us on us. Give us an opportunity to shower and get into proper. But I think, it's been very challenging for everyone involved in sport. And yes, the athletes that were preparing for Tokyo were for a little bit of a time were very unsure of how they were supposed to prepare, because there was a lot of uncertainty and they were actually going to postpone the games or not. And if they were to postpone, how long would they postpone by? There was initially some talks that it might be September, October, which is not too far away from the July, August. So everyone was in a bit of a limbo. But I think once the official announcement came through that it was going to be pushed by 12 months, I think everyone really could recalibrate their training schedules and their plans and really know what was expected of them. Some athletes have taken it very positively. They're looking at it as additional time to get ready,
Right.
get better, get stronger. But some that were really ready to peak this July had a bit of a struggle, I think more mentally than anything else. So I think it's been a good time for all our coaches, our sports psychologists to be working with our athletes, because I think it was a big mental play for everyone to get them to realize that the whole world is in this situation. It was not just that India was struggling. The whole world
Right.
was facing the same challenges. All their competitors were in the same boat. So they had to look at it positively and stay motivated and stay focused on the fact that they have 12 more months to get ready for the Olympics. So I think that's how things are. For
Right.
our institute, I think I'm probably the most envious of those kids, because we kind of went into lockdown a little before it was officially announced, and they've been inside. No one has gone in. So they've kind of been, while the schedules are curtailed, they have been studying and doing everything that they're supposed to do in normal routine. So in that sense, it's been very good for them. They don't have the same problems of no weights and having to work out in their halls.
Yeah.
They have access to
Right.
they have access to the gym, so they've been doing everything.
Let me take that point across with Mr. Menon. Mr. Menon, we were all, if you look at the IPL, it's like a big sporting festival here in India. And the BCCI was doing a lot of back and forth, and then finally we got to know that IPL, will be deferred for some time given the current situation. Having said that, what was your first reaction, in terms of Kings 11 Punjab? I'm sure the preparations were already on. The athletes were, the teams were already fixed. So what went into your mind? How were you dealing with this situation?
Oh, well, I think we were all set and prepared, but as you know, this is an extraordinary situation, and COVID-19 has upended almost all parts and all spheres of everybody's lives. So sports is no exception. I don't think we had a choice in the matter. We were all set. The huge planning went into preparing for the training camp, which was to begin on the 15th. But well, we had to put it on the back burner. I mean, I really have no answer to that, because we just followed BCCI guidelines, and BCCI can't be blamed for going back and forth, because I think there's a lot at stake. It's not just sports at this point in time. It's not easy for them to make a commitment and then go back on it. So they kept looking at it after every 15 days or 20 days.
Right.
So I wouldn't blame anyone. I mean, it's like I said, it's an extraordinary situation.
Absolutely. Vivek, you guys do a lot of marathons, involved with a lot of other sports as well. Do you see a structural shift in the way games are played?
Well, I don't think there will be a structural shift in the way games are played. It'll take some time to normalize. There's no question about that. And the fastest way to normalize will be if a vaccine, an effective vaccine is available. Because, sport has its own life, its own ethos. You can't really just change it and say this is the new sporting paradigm. I know there have been conversations about competing in fan-less, in spectator-less stadiums. It's a challenge in even doing something as simple as that for spectator sport. It's a huge challenge.
Right.
And where we operate in, which is the participative sporting paradigm, I mean, we get thousands and thousands of people to run together and celebrate together, and that is the ethos of a big city marathon.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't think it's going to change. It'll take maybe some time to come back. And I feel that if there's any one thing that will get back to normal, and I'm not predicting in how many months, but will get back to normal, is sport. Because sport is life, and people will want the sport that they have grown accustomed to. And I think sport will be one of the things that actually come back to normal given the period of time that it takes.
There's a lot of talk at this point of time, and Mr. Vivek, you're absolutely right when you're saying that sports is like a huge festival. A lot of people follow it and watch it very closely, are deeply involved with the games as well. But Gurpreet, the point that I want to ask you here is that a lot is being talked about whether sports can be played without spectators. As a sports person, will it really give the kind of high that you get when you play in a stadium full of people chanting your names?
It's not the same thing at all. Especially teams like football or in cricket, we thrive on the fans. We thrive on the fans' support. And especially like at Bengaluru FC, our supporters are everything for us and we play for them. So them being in the stadium makes a huge difference for us. Even at times where we are, losing a game. And there have been times where the fans were the people who, pushed us through and got us the result. So I think playing sports without any people at the stadium does have an effect. And as a player, you want people to come and watch sports. And
so you're saying all those, right? So you're saying all those chants, those claps really work for you when you play for Bengaluru FC?
Of course they do. It's magical.
Absolutely. When we're talking about this, Mr. Menon, if you can come in on that, at a time when, the sports persons also feel that the magic won't really be the same if you don't play in a stadium. The fact that we're now talking about perhaps looking at virtual reality, do you see that happening?
No, what do you mean by virtual reality?
I'm saying, now there are a lot of talks on whether we can play sports and maybe the people can watch it in a 3D manner. Is virtual reality something that can be used to give viewers or fans the same kind of experience?
So let me answer the first part, which you were talking to Gurpreet about, and how it feels to be without fans. I understand how it is when it comes to a player. Excuse me, but because for a player, all that matters is that he has to be egged on. You see, so whether be it cricket, be it any sport for that matter. I mean, largely contact sports, where you're actually rushing and you need to be egged on. I think for them it's important. I mean, that level of enthusiasm will not be there. But having said that, you've seen what happened in the Serie games, in the Italian Serie. They started off because they wanted to finish it, but towards the end it petered out because they weren't the players didn't feel so good about playing and to an empty stadium. It's going to be a toss-up between whether you want any sport or don't, or want to just or just don't want anything without having to see it live. I would weigh in favor of saying let's have the game after all. You see, till we tide over the situation. And I go back to what Vivek said, because sports has its own life, sports has its own ecosystems. I wouldn't mind if I can see, for example, EPL, I'm a big follower of my team, as I mentioned earlier. It's not as if I go and see every game live. So I'm sure that, even if you're sitting at home, and now I'll come to your thing about virtual. So my take on that would be not so much virtual as much as saying that what with so many digital opportunities available today, the Spanish league is now on Facebook. I don't see any reason why you can't follow it. From a player standpoint, I can understand, okay? But from a fan standpoint, spectator standpoint, I think given the fact that digital media has grown in such large numbers, I see no reason why we can't keep this live, at least till such time as, going back to what Vivek said, that we find a vaccine and it's all cleared and that, nobody gets hurt. I understand completely where Gurpreet is coming from. Because I played the game and I played football enough. So I know this. If you don't have anyone on the ground, it's not worth playing to an empty ground. But I think we'll have to, Gurpreet, we'll all have to adjust and adapt ourselves to this new situation. With all due respect to Mustafa, I'm sure that ticketing and gate collection and gate receipts matter. But we'll have to compensate somewhere. We'll have to make those compensations.
Mustafa, do you see the possibility of 3D tickets being sold?
There's a lot of interesting stuff that's happening. So we may end up reaching that. That may be the normal. But I think, yeah, I totally agree with both Gurpreet and Satish that probably an athlete's most feared or worst situation to be playing in an empty stadium. That's stuff that we've all not wanting to do. At the joy of providing it, he says, I think eventually we will start off with
Mustafa, we're not able to hear you properly. If you can just be a little more loud.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
With the hope that people at home can get to experience the fun of watching sport, we will eventually start, and we're starting to see that with some leagues around the world. The baseball league in Taiwan started with closed doors, and Germany is planning to start the football season very soon. And for Satish's sake, I think the Premier League will hopefully start in June as well. So I think that's what's going to happen, and then slowly when things normalize, we'll start seeing people.
Vijay, is it going to be the same? My colleague Nentara is also asking, she's watching this webinar live. She's saying, why not as a temporary measure? Possibly we can have a massive billboard in the stadium showing how many people are watching live on a particular streaming platform.
Yeah, I think it will be great because as everyone mentioned, it's going to be really difficult for a player, but we have to adapt ourselves quickly to it. And the most important thing for us is to play the sport. We need to go back and start playing the sport, which is very important for us. So I think we'll be very happy if we start playing even in closed doors and people watching it on TV. Even for that, it will be really important for the fans as well, because we didn't have any sport for a very long time now. So I think even in closed doors, it will be really great to go back and start playing the sport.
Gurpreet, I see you nodding your head. I'm sure you are also missing all the sporting action.
Of course. I'm tired of shooting the ball at the wall now.
Mustafa, in terms of how things are panning out, big businesses are looking at cutting costs, cutting corners to fight this battle, which is not a battle that we just have to fight on the health front, but also on the economic, on the financial front as well. GSW, of course, is passionate about sports, but that's not their core business. So at a time like this, during recession, what happens largely?
Oh, it's a tricky situation. We are definitely going to be seeing a lot of
You're losing him again.
We're losing your word. Yeah. Audio.
Better now?
Better now.
I think it's definitely going to be a very tricky situation. I think world over, you're seeing how sports teams are looking at cutting costs, and players have taken pay cuts, etc. We've not yet reached that stage in India, and hopefully for us, we are going through an off season, so most of us will come back at a time when things are slightly starting to pick up. But it is extremely challenging because as Satish and Vivek will also understand that I think marketing spends of a lot of big brands are going to be taking a hit. Ticketing revenue is definitely going to take a hit because people are not going to be comfortable ready to come into big stadiums. So all these aspects of revenue generation for teams are going to be affected. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that sport goes on. There are so many more aspects of sport that will lift the economy and lift the mindset of all our fans. And I have so many friends in different industries that are just chatting, and they're like, we can't believe there's no live sport on right now. And I think everyone is just craving for that. So I think that's going to be primary number one. And then, yes, finding a way to make the economics match up will be the next step for all of us.
Yeah, I can tell you for my father, he's watching all the old matches. Vivek, are you doing the same?
Well, we're constantly immersed in sport. So one way or the other, I like to read more about sport than watch it. But yeah, we're constantly in touch with it in some form or the other. And like Mustafa said, you really miss your sporting dose of what's happening around the world. But I do feel that if there's one thing that's going to come back and it's going to come back strong is sport. And that's because the sheer emotions that sport brings to the screen, it's something phenomenal. And I think you're going to see that. And, we don't realize how large an ecosystem actually sport supports around the world.
Right.
And why it's such a priority. We are just beginning to understand and sport the happiness index of a country, the health index of a country. So sport actually has a tremendous amount of soft power that it also brings to your screen. It keeps people united. It breaks down barriers. It keeps you, engaged in different kinds of conversation outside of the other things that overtake your life. So I think the one thing that we will see in come back stronger and come back in all its glory will be sport, spectator sport, participative sport, all kinds of sporting paradigm.
Satish, let me come to you as well, and then I'll take a question with Vijay. Vijay, a whole host of questions are coming for you and Gurpreet as well. So I will just finish this point and then come to you guys. Satish, in terms of the financial impact, everybody was talking about how because of COVID, there is a concern that there may be a valuation drain for teams, for clubs. In terms of Kings 11 Punjab, where are you seeing, things headed, and what is the financial, strain really going to mean for players, and how, things really move on from here on?
So insofar as valuation is concerned, I think at this point in time, we're not really looking at what the valuation can be. As you know, it's going to impact every single sport anywhere in the world. The total global valuation of sports, in my estimate, is roughly about $500 billion US. So this is going to impact everybody across. But I believe that that's a very temporary thing. It's a very temporary phase because for a large part, the real value, whether we like it or not, so some of the purists may not agree with this, but for a large part, the value of the game has a lot to do with the value of eyeballs. So for us, for example, I mean, there's nothing like IPL's viewership. So, that has an impact on our overall viewership. And I don't see valuation as being a big issue. It's bound to bounce back. But insofar as the short-term financial hits that we will have to take it, if at all, because as Mustafa rightly said, there's bound to be a negative impact in terms of advertising revenues, sponsorships, and a lot of categories have been affected.
What is it going to mean for players? Does it also mean that, big teams are going to wait and watch before they make those and get those high value transfers?
No, so wait, let's not get to transfers as yet. IPL is a little away from that. You can't look at it in the same perspective world over, because they come in for a 3-year contract, they're paid a certain amount of money. You can decide to bring new player after the second year, depending on how the performance is, and so on and so forth. So players, I don't think are going to be affected as such. There could be in the non-playing space, there could be some furloughs, the furlough days for that matter. This is happening world over. There are furloughs that teams are taking across the world, but those are leagues that run through the year. NBA, as an example, runs for a good 8 to 9 months.
Right.
It's not so with IPL, and I'm saying that IPL in many ways, I mean, I bit my tongue saying this, because sometime back I always said this in the last season, that IPL is a recession-proof business, and that it can buck any trend. So look, out of nowhere came COVID. COVID was an unexpected thing, and so in the short term, if assuming that BCCI decides to hold the games in the next couple of months, and God willing it will happen, God willing COVID will vanish, I think that's more important. I think there will be a temporary, if I can call it a trough, but it's all bound to come back. I don't see many categories walk away. Some
Right.
will, but they will get replaced. So it is for IPL, it's not going to be a big hit. So I'm not talking on behalf of sporting properties world over. I can say this for IPL for sure. And I go back to equating, eyeballs to the real value. It is for a large part true. Although there are other revenues, and the biggest revenue, of course, is the broadcast revenue, which is true world over. But in this case, I think IPL will possibly bounce back in no time. And we are lucky in some ways. I'll finish that as well. That you see that we are still a one-horse-led sport property, and unlike anywhere else in the world. Cricket is primarily there. I'm sorry, with all due respect to you, Gurpreet. I'm a big football follower, but yet I'm saying that's the case. I mean, majority of the revenues or majority of the flow happens into cricket. Therefore, I don't see cricket being hit so badly.
Let me come to you. A lot of people want to ask you, how are you training during these days? And not just that, how are you keeping the morale high so that, you're able to cope up with, all the anxiety due to lockdown? And of course, we're seeing a lot of people doing those video chats. I know you have something lined up with your team at 4 o'clock. So are you like talking to your fellow colleagues, talking to other players and just figuring out what they're doing, what their routine looks like?
Yes, so for training, I have my close friends. So every morning we have decided to train for an hour at least, because we thought we should make it a habit to train and keep ourselves fit. So every morning we'll spend 1 hour training, just the basic things. We have a lot of exercises that is there on the internet. So just have to search for it and keep doing that regularly. And in the last few days or few weeks, it was an opportunity for us to get in touch with so many friends. Generally, this time of the year we'll be busy playing cricket. Generally, we'll be traveling, we'll be playing a lot of matches. So this is the time where you get to at least talk to someone to whom you have not spoken for a very long time. And we've been in touch with a lot of cricketers as well. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be in touch with a lot of players in this tough time.
Gurpreet, there's a question coming for you also. People are asking you. In fact, this is a question by my colleague Utkarsh. He's saying, what's your favorite memory of Indian football? And who's the fastest, fastest footballer you've played with?
I think that match in Qatar, against Qatar recently, I'll just share a recent memory. To being able to go there and get a result, get a point was a huge success for us as a team. And that memory is cherished forever. And for the second question, I think there's a big competition between Udanta and Changte from Chennai. So both of them are very fast.
Vijay, do you at all sometimes speak to Virat Kohli and all the other team members just to get a sense on what they're doing and how things are shaping up for them? And any sporting tips that you're taking from them?
Virat Kohli, but definitely not with Virat. But I've been in touch with other cricketers. I have a lot of good friends. So few are like Shreyas Iyer and all. We've been playing together for the last 4 or 5 years in India A and everything. So been in touch with them. Been in touch with quite a few players from Sunrisers Hyderabad. So the social media and this platform is actually helping us to stay in touch with so many people. Like you get to do video calling, you get to be in touch with them. So I think it helps that in. It actually helps us to be in touch with so many players. Not just players, but also fans. Sometimes you can have an interaction. You can talk to them. This is the time where you can spend more time to interact with them. So I feel we can use it properly so that you can be in touch with a lot of players and also with a lot of fans.
Right. Gurpreet, are you also co-creating a lot of content for social media with your other teammates?
I don't think with social media, but I'll give you an example. So our captain Sunil Chetri, what he did is he made a group on WhatsApp and he added all the boys, and he was like, you guys need to share videos of you working out, and you need to share the pictures of the food that you're eating and post it in the group every day.
Have you added Mustafa as a part of the group too?
I'm not part of this group.
So that he can keep in check if everyone is eating right and doing the work, because he's doing it for the past 15-20 days, and he's expecting all the young ones, all the young players and the senior players to do the same. So that's what has been happening at my end.
There's a question coming in, Mustafa, for you by Akshat Gupta. He's saying, given the situation, are sports management firms like JSW Sports and IPL franchisees looking at a hiring freeze or perhaps downsizing their sports management as well for future?
I don't think we've reached a stage of downsizing. Definitely not any new hiring that's happening right now, obviously, because there's not enough clarity on when play will resume for all of us across all our leagues. So I think till we have clarity on that, I think that is for us. And I think once we all get out of this and have timelines in place on when the IPL will happen, when the Football League will start, when Kabaddi team will be back in action, I think that's when we'll be looking at getting more people on board.
Right. Vivek, for you, do you believe that given the kind of situation that we are in, there is a possibility of at least the non-essential spends to go down, and that is going to impact like all sports, worldwide?
Listen, of course, there is a possibility. But if you take, it is a possibility, you cannot deny that. But if you actually take what we do, all of us out here, it's something more than just, advertising spends and marketing spends. It's much more tied in, and which is why I said sport will return back to normal, or in fact, even to greater glory. If you take an event like the Mumbai Marathon, and Tata's puts up big money for it, so does Airtel for Delhi and TCS and Tata Steel. What are they doing this for? That emotion, that projection of that city cannot be achieved in any other way. Sport does that. I remember when we segued from Standard Chartered to Tata's, we had actually done a dipstick of people on the ground and asking people why do they run the Mumbai Marathon. And it was fantastic what came out. They said we run because of health, and we run because of fitness, and some said we run because we got all the celebrities of the world on the street with us, and some said we've got the government all. So we said, how come we're running the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth time? And that's when it came out from them that they ran again and again because it made them better.
Right.
So we said, better what? And they said, running or touching the Mumbai Marathon in any shape or form makes us a better person, a better father, a better brother, a better colleague, a better person at home. That is what sport does. It connects, it binds, it dissolves barriers. You can't replicate that. And I think sponsorship, will there be some troughs like some of our panelists mentioned? Maybe there will be. But there will be others to fill that trough. And I do believe that that sport will come back, because that sense of emotional equity that sport brings is something which is very difficult to replicate with anything else.
Right. Satish, if I can, ask you in terms of the psychological support that players would need at this point of time, to come out of this lull, how are you looking at that as well?
I don't know if there is a psychological issue as yet, because most players, are in touch with us.
Just allow me to come in on that point. The fact is that a lot of, you would want your players to peak, right? But due to the lockdown, many of them may not be able to get to, the kind of peaks that we're hoping for them to have, right? As a sports person. So what kind of, psychological support would...
Okay, let me help you with that question. Given the fact that I started my career as a journalist, I'll help you with a bit of it. I think the bigger issue is actually going to be fitness. Okay, as we see it. A bigger issue, I don't think psychologically, I think psychologically they'll all be set in the sense that they're all at home. So they'll spend more time at home with their families, which is a very good. But I think the biggest challenge is going to be when they come back, how fit are they going to be? I think some of our so-called, the trainers, the technical staff actually will have, they would ideally like to induce a training which is relevant to what they would want it to be now, while the games are on. Now they would know whether the boys are going through the same kind of training while they're at home. I think that is the challenge, you see, more than anything else. Are they coming back fit, or are they coming back half fit, or are they training enough? These are the larger issues that we have, I don't know if that answers your question, because you started with, yeah?
No, I get the point that you're making. Gurpreet, there are a lot of questions coming to you, so this is a wrap.
Mustafa,
okay, Mustafa, if you can just add to the point, and then I'll take it to Gurpreet.
I think he's got something to say.
I think the challenge is, one is, yes, whether fitness levels will be at the peak of what is expected when we move into competition phase, but it's also the lack of technical training that going to miss over these 40 days, 50 days, or hopefully not much longer. No one is getting time in the nets, no one is getting getting on the mat or in the boxing rings or anything of that sort. They're all working out. So if they were doing 1,000 calories a session, they might be doing 500-600 calories a session, but they're at least doing something. So fitness levels will be a question, but none of them, very few, are getting the opportunity to hit balls or to run and bowl in and save and do all of that. So I think that is what is going to take will need attention as soon as we get back, and the risk of overdoing that to rush getting ready is injury. So it's really important that the coaching staff and the training teams really know the workloads and build it up so that players are ready when season starts.
Right. Let me take the rapid fire with Gurpreet. Gurpreet, we're getting so many requests for you. If you had one guy to save, who would that be, Messi or Ronaldo?
That's I would love to save both of the shots, but I think I would choose Messi because he's the one who can beat every keeper in the world. So getting that kind of challenge is going to be my lucky day.
Your favorite football team and why?
There's no football team
That's a tough
that I follow, but I would say that I used to watch a lot of football of Man United as a kid because that was the first team I saw on television as a kid, and in the Alex Ferguson days, I used to love them a lot, when they played, because all of the guys that I looked up to were playing in that team.
You've played a lot of celebrity matches with Dhoni as well as Kohli. Who's a better footballer?
For who? For Vijay?
No, I'm saying you've played a lot of celebrity matches with Dhoni and Kohli. Who's a better footballer between the two of them?
I think Sethi has played more, so and I've seen Virat Kohli do a lot of football sessions with the cricket team. So in my opinion, I think he might have a bigger edge on that. But I think Vijay knows better on this. He trains with them every day.
Vijay, who's a better footballer between Virat as well as Virat Kohli and Dhoni?
I think MS Dhoni, because I think he's played football in his younger days. So I think he was a goalkeeper. So
yes, he was.
Yeah.
And then he was told to become a wicket keeper. So that's what he started focusing on. Gurpreet, if you have to pick one favorite save, what would that be? Something that shocked even you yourself.
I would pick one from the last season. It was against Odisha in their home. It was a blinder. I didn't know I saved it. After I saved it, I got excruciating pain in my elbow. So that's one of the saves that I remember.
Who's your favorite goalkeeper besides yourself?
No, I'm not my favorite. I think from the last season, Arindam Bhattacharya from ATK and Amrinder from Mumbai City FC.
Vijay, I have a little bit of rapid fire for you as well. A lot of people want to know what was going on in your mind when Dinesh Karthik hit you for that six during the Nidhas Trophy.
I think it was a tough time for me because that was my first ever international innings. So it didn't turn out well. So I was just, praying to Dinesh Karthik to hit that. So I was happy that he hit that six. It was difficult, but then it was a great experience for me.
Who do you go for advice if you have to on cricket? Your go-to person.
My go-to person is I have my personal coach with whom I've been training for like 16 years now. So whatever it is regarding cricket, I'll only listen to him. I'll listen to everyone, but then if I have to change something, it will be only from my coach.
Who all will make a part of Vijay's top cricket 11, the past and the present, cricketers included?
From the Indian side?
Sorry?
From the Indian team?
Yeah, from the Indian team.
From the past and present. Difficult to, get 11. So my all-time favorite is Rahul Dravid. So definitely Rahul Dravid is one. Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni, Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, Zahir Khan, Bumrah, Anil Kumble, Javagal Srinath, and almost should be a batsman, bowler, another one, Virendra Sehwag. Oh no, Saurabh Ganguly.
Oh, that's true. Your
Too many opening batsmen.
I know. Your favorite cricketing moment, Vijay?
Definitely the game against Pakistan, where I got the wicket of my first ball in World Cup. So that will be my all-time favorite.
Right. And talk to us about your dream debut during the World Cup as well.
Well, it was like a dream because to play against Pakistan in Manchester and in front of such a crowd, and I've told this before also, to stand in the national anthem before the game was unbelievable. And then I had a decent game. So overall, it's been a great game for me, and I think I cannot ask for anything better. I would have loved to bat it more, but then I got very limited opportunity. I just loved everything that every single minute whatever I did in that game.
How important was VVS Lakshman in your development?
Well, it was important for me to have someone like him in Sunrisers Hyderabad because it is very important for anyone to get a break. I've been I was sitting with CSK for 2 years, but then to get into a side and to play is very important for any player. And I got an opportunity to play in Sunrisers Hyderabad, and then I did well. So every time he just comes up to me and he,
Right.
I'm doing really well, or he keeps motivating, which is very important for a player in a tournament like IPL because you play back to back and you need to be at your best all the time.
Right. Those are some of the lighter things, but, on a more serious note, Mustafa, let me ask you, a lot of people ask that, given the kind of situation that we are in due to, COVID-19, it's going to have a lot of impact, especially on the domestic circuit as well. The Ranji Trophy players who are yet to make it big in the world stage are likely to suffer the most. Your views on that?
It's going to be difficult. We're seeing this also on where a lot of they're trying to put together a relief fund for players that actually are playing week on week, trying to break it into the top 100 and earn substantial living. So it is definitely going to be challenging on all the fringe players that are on the cusp of making it or working extremely hard. So I think this is where the federations, the bigger teams, the government comes in and has to start helping out these players, because yes, the domestic season is all on hold, and this is a very big. It's not just a platform for everyone to showcase themselves to make it into the national team, but it's also their wages that they look to earn. So I think those are critical factors for us in the ecosystem, and that's something that we all need to look at.
Right. Mr. Menon, if I can get you, on the thing that a lot of people are talking about, that the fact is that it will be difficult once this whole COVID situation gets over to get the crowds back in the stadium. How are you looking at that kind of a situation? Because of course there would be a lot more awareness as well, right?
I doubt whether it be an issue of getting people back to stadium. I don't think there's an issue at the demand end. The problem is at the supply end. There's always a demand, and as I go back to what Vivek said, sports will never die. It's the only entertainer. It's the only breakaway from your regular stress in life. So I don't think there'll ever be an issue of getting the audience or getting the spectator back into the stadium. That's the least of the problem. I think the moment things clear up, and federations world over start, restart all the sports wherever that they are, I think the audience will all flow back. It will never be a problem.
Vivek, do you concur with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to happen, in fact, sooner. Like I said, we don't know how fast we can actually get out of this, but there are many proxy outliers for all of us on this panel. When the cinema halls open up, when the restaurants open up, when the malls and the shopping complexes open up, these are our proxy outliers. The moment people feel comfortable, in each other's company again, I mean, that's it. You're going to see everything come slowly back, and especially sports. You're going to see it come back bigger and better, because it's a very pure form of not just entertainment, very pure form, very pure display of emotion, of humanity, of brotherhood. I think that's what sport is really. And that is going to stay. And yes, as it normalizes, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back stronger.
Gurpreet, how hopeful are you seeing, the crowds back in the stadium and people cheering for you and your team?
Hopefully it happens, but as everyone is saying, and especially what the message is, that once everything is safe and sound, when it's safer to be outside in each other's company, like Vivek sir said, that's when it should happen. And until then, things should go gradually and slowly. And, as a player, we would love to have the fans in the stadium and the supporters in the stadium, but we would like to have them at a safe spot, let them come when it's safe and when it's the right moment to.
Gurpreet, you were making that very interesting point earlier on in the discussion as well, where you were saying that for many countries we've seen that the entire sporting calendar has been washed out due to COVID. given the fact that, and let me take that point with Mustafa actually. Mustafa, given the fact that, here in India, we're somewhere close to 24,000 odd cases, at least in big states like Maharashtra, the situation is still evolving. We still don't know where things really stand. Is there a fear that there is a possibility of a washout of the entire sporting calendar, sporting season?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think everyone will look to adapt as and when things start opening up and we start returning back to normal routines. You're seeing that globally, where Premier League is looking at, which should have been done by the end of May, is looking at least starting in June. The ATP schedule is all become haywire. Yesterday, the US Open made an announcement, or they're thinking about moving out of New York, because New York is also a very badly affected city and state, and playing the US Open in California, in Indian Wells. So I think everyone, I think the question for this year will be to find a way to make things happen and rebuild as we go along. I don't think there will be a challenge for people to start coming into stadiums once things are safe. I was reading an article where the problem that the German Football Federation is fearing is that while they may have the stadiums closed, how do they stop people from congregating in front of big screens and watching,
Right.
which is as good as being inside the stadium. So people love sport. They want to watch live sport as much as they can, and it's going to be it's a question of when, not if. So I think, yes, there will be a shuffling around of everyone's schedules, but we will all find a way to get sport back on track.
It's a question of when and not how. I saw Satish, you were nodding your head when Mustafa was talking.
I agree with him fully.
Just to get the just to get the closing comments, Mustafa, there was a question for you also that came in, and people want to ask you if there's one athlete that you decided to not sign up and you regret it today. Is there anyone?
Is there one athlete that decided not to sign up? Oh, I mean, we had to let Vijay Shankar go in last season, and he went on to go make the World Cup team, which we were all extremely happy for. So yeah, there's a player that I'll want back. I'll get Vijay back.
Okay, that sounds fun. Vijay, I think Mustafa is looking forward to having you back in his team.
Definitely, I had a very good time in Delhi, so it's just important for a player to go and do well for the franchise and win as many matches as he can.
Right. All right. On that note, gentlemen, many thanks for taking your time out and being a part of this webinar. I think we had a great discussion today. So thank you all, Gurpreet, Vivek, Vijay, Mustafa, as well as Satish. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having us, and
Thank you.
the best to everyone, really. Godspeed and good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. God bless.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Gurpreet. Thank you, Vijay. Mustafa, thanks.
Thank you.